What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading. Today, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin's mini cycle and why altcoin season could literally be about to begin in the next couple of days. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell. Before we get started, do keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice. It's just my personal analysis of the crypto market. Your analysis could be different, and if it is, that's awesome, because the more difference of opinion that we have, the better traders and the better investors we're all going to become. So first things first, guys, Bitcoin mini cycle. Quick recap. A Bitcoin mini cycle is basically a 10-day period where Bitcoin's price goes either up or down. Between these mini cycles, you have what I like to call like some resetting period. And of course, we just finished going through the most recent resetting period here. Initially, I thought that this resetting period, of course, would be a little bit of a melt up. Of course, that did not happen, but that doesn't change the fact that the Bitcoin mini cycle, the most recent one, started here a couple of days ago, I think on September 8th, so literally yesterday. And so far, it looks like we're on track to get an up mini cycle, basically, with Bitcoin's price going up over the next 10 days, which actually makes perfect sense when you consider that, of course, I think the Fed's next meeting, the rate cut, is going to be taking place, I think, either on September 17th or 18th. So this actually makes perfect sense that you would see Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market rallying into the Fed meeting. And then after that, is that going to be a bit of a sell the news event? Who knows? I'll probably do a video about that, I think, on Saturday, because a lot of people are starting to say that that the Fed meeting is going to be a sell the news event, which is really funny because, initially people were saying that September would be bearish. And I think with each passing day, it's becoming clearer and clearer that that's not the case. So that's just for Bitcoin. Again, long story short, Bitcoin mini cycle has just started, and it looks like Bitcoin is going to be powering higher in the next 10 days or so. How high will Bitcoin go in that period? I don't know. I think it could hit at least 120,000, maybe somewhere around 130. And it does look like potentially that Bitcoin cycle top would then be hit, potentially not in September, but in early October with the next Bitcoin mini cycle. But we'll get to that when it comes around. So this brings us to altcoins, guys, which of course you can measure using others, which basically measures the total crypto market cap of all the altcoins outside of the top 10. As you guys can see, others has basically been chopping sideways for about 6 weeks now, which of course has been very frustrating, but this has not been bearish. Yes, some smaller altcoins have been grinding lower, but overall altcoins have been pretty resilient and literally chopping around the same level again for the last 6 weeks, which again, frustrating, but not bearish. And as you guys can see, we're finally starting to see others break above this $310 billion level. Some of you guys might recall that was one kind of, let's say, I guess, indicator I was watching for altcoin season, is that we would need to see others break above 310 billion. And as I shoot this, others is close to 315. And hopefully in the next couple of days, I mean, it looks like it's going to finally break above this level. And once it does, then of course that would be one indicator, again, suggesting that altcoin season is finally starting. Another indicator I've been watching in that sense, guys, is Bitcoin dominance. I've been expecting Bitcoin dominance to fall somewhere below 58%, which you guys can see. Similarly to others, Bitcoin dominance has been really chopping around 58%, you could say, for I think around 3 weeks now. So again, is this frustrating? Yes, but it's definitely not bearish. And as you guys can see, I have the Bollinger Bands thrown on the daily here for Bitcoin dominance. Looks like the Bollinger Bands are starting to squeeze, which of course suggests that we're going to see a big move in Bitcoin dominance, either to the upside or to the downside. And as you guys might have guessed, I do expect Bitcoin dominance to fall to the downside. Maybe there'll be another support level, somewhere around 55%. So maybe going into the Fed meeting next week, Bitcoin dominance falls to around 55%. But I do think that Bitcoin dominance is going to continue falling and is going to fall somewhere below 50%, maybe like 48, 47%, something like that. And I do think that'll be hit by the end of October, which is when I expect altcoin season to kind of be, I guess, wrapping up, you could say. Again, just to quickly recap, I do believe that Bitcoin is likely to top sometime later this month. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, it's starting to look like it could happen sometime, I guess, in early October rather than late September. If it's off by a couple of weeks, big deal. But in all seriousness, guys, it does look like Bitcoin dominance is going to get another massive break lower here. And if we do get that confirmation, which again depends on catalysts in the next couple of days, then that will be confirmation, in my view, that altcoin season is starting. And I do think that that would correspond to Ethereum hitting a new all-time high, which is, of course, the third criteria that I've been watching. Anyways, guys, before I go any further, I do need to tell you about the Coin Bureau deals page. That's where you'll find up to $50,000 in bonuses and a free AI trading assistant trial on BitGet, which is an exchange we've started working with recently here. When we have a whole bunch of other deals, you guys can find like $60,000 on Bybit, up to $60,000, up to 10% cashback, plus 2x point multipliers on Axiom, which is a very awesome terminal to trade meme coins on Solana. Sounds like they're going to be doing an airdrop, hence this whole points thing. And of course, we do have a 10% off a deal on Aaron's Better Traders course, and a whole bunch of other deals on some of the top crypto exchanges, crypto wallets, trading bots, tax tools, everything you could possibly need. So do check out the Coin Bureau deals page using a link in the description. When you use those links, again, everything there is completely free. It helps us out, it helps you out, and of course, it helps out our partners. Anyways, guys, when it comes to catalysts, so the main catalyst to watch later today in terms of what could move the market is a revision to US jobs data. Obviously, this revision is likely to be lower, meaning that it's going to show that the jobs market is weaker than what people were expecting. And of course, that would be supportive of a rate cut, which of course would result in a rally in the markets, especially in crypto and particularly in altcoins, which are the most sensitive to interest rates, let's say. And this ties into another indicator I've been watching on the macro front when it comes to altcoin season, which is of course the US dollar index, aka the DXY. And as you guys can see here, we're on the DXY on the weekly. It looks like the DXY is continuing to break lower. And again, with the DXY getting the second leg lower, that's what I've been watching for altcoin season, because this is something that's happened in every single crypto cycle. The first leg lower in the DXY corresponded to a Bitcoin rally, then there was a little bit of chop, and then a second leg lower that corresponded to altcoin season. That's what we saw in 2017, that's what we saw in 2020 and 2021, and that's what we're seeing right now ever since 2025. The first leg lower corresponded to a Bitcoin rally, more or less, and now we're about to see a second leg lower starting, which would correspond to an altcoin season. And of course, if jobs data comes in weaker, then that would of course be supportive of more rate cuts, which would be basically negative for the US dollar, you could say, because it would result in a weaker US dollar. And of course, that would be reflected in the DXY. And if you're skeptical about my DXY call here about a second leg lower and saying that I don't know anything about technical analysis or whatever, then feel free to look at this analysis from Bob Loukas, who is arguably one of the best, analysts when it comes to crypto cycles and cycles in general for other assets. He posted this, I think, yesterday about the DXY, showing that he expects the DXY to bottom sometime in October, which would be perfect. That would correspond perfectly to a cycle top in altcoins, in my view. So again, DXY, Bob sees falling sometime, I guess to around 95, 96 maybe later this month, but most likely in October, November, and then going into the end of the year with the DXY rising up a little bit and then getting a second leg lower in 2026. I actually disagree with that. I don't think the DXY will be getting a second leg lower, because I think what will happen is that later this year or early next year, we're going to get some economic weakness, and that's going to result in money flowing into the US dollar, because that's what always happens when there's economic weakness. Money flows into the US dollar and into US bonds. But of course, we'll have to take things one step at a time. And the key takeaway in this case, in today's video, is that the Bitcoin mini cycle has started. Looks like Bitcoin is going to melt up over the next 10 days. It looks like others is finally breaking out after chopping around for 6 weeks, which of course is indicative of an altcoin season. And of course, Bitcoin dominance looks like it's about to squeeze lower in the next couple of days here, falling below 58% on Bitcoin dominance. Again, would suggest that altcoin season is imminent, and I mean is literally starting. And the catalyst to watch later today that could trigger that is this jobs revision. And of course, we're going to have PPI tomorrow and CPI on Wednesday, CPI and on Thursday, and CPI on Thursday. Mixing up my days, but anyways, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, and I will be doing videos about that tomorrow and the day after. Anyways, guys, if you did make it this far and you did find that information helpful, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ping that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.